Ian Begley has just announced that Jalen Brunson is going to be okay, so we have to talk about this. What's up, guys? Welcome back to Knicks Digest. It's Chris here, and we're going to waste no time jumping right into it because you may have heard good news about Jalen Brunson already after what looked like it could have been some sort of knee injury, but it was not a non-contact knee injury, which is massive, and also, he's just fine. He is going to be questionable for tomorrow's game. I think they should sit him. We'll get into that in a minute. But really, let's just look at what Bagley just announced. League sources say Jalen Brunson will be listed as questionable for tomorrow's game against the Hawks with a left knee contusion. Brunson avoided a serious knee injury, and that was the hope following last night's game in Cleveland. Look, obviously the Knicks are injury-riddled beyond belief. Julius Randle's out with the shoulder dislocation, OG Anunoby's out with the elbow operation, and Mitchell Robinson is recovering from foot surgery from what was most likely a stress-related foot injury, something he has dealt with a lot throughout his career. But none of them, as great as they are, especially Julius Randle, the two-time All-NBA player, three-time All-Star, all with the Knicks, that is. None of them are nearly as important as Jalen Brunson. We all know this. We know who the best player on the team is. We know who the face of the New York Knicks is. We know who the near NBA superstar is on the New York Knicks. It's Brunson. And obviously, keeping him healthy is the number one concern. The Knicks have been riddled with injuries, and Brunson has had some minor injuries here and there. I mean, he's a physical player. He plays a lot of minutes. And though I don't love the amount of minutes he plays, let's be honest, it's not fully on Tibbs. The Knicks cannot function without Randle or Brunson on the court. That's been the case a lot this year, even with the new look Knicks that they've kind of come up with over the last few months. We had the run of our lives early in January and throughout all of January with the Knicks just balling out, but then health concerns just popped up. Randle's shoulder popped out of place because Jaime Jaquez did not give him landing room, and really, things have just gone poorly. Isaiah Hartenstein's been kind of in and out with this Achilles injury, but Brunson, for the most part, has been here and been a soldier for the Knicks, and then he went down with an injury, and it looked really bad. It didn't look like there was contact from the angle of the broadcast, but there was. He did kind of tap knees with someone, and though it was just that, it's why he was dragging his foot, and we are going to get into that a little bit. So what Tibbs said after the x-rays returned negative on his knee, he said he bumped knees. That's what happened. He got x-rays. He was examined by the doctor. Everything was negative. We'll see where he is tomorrow, said Tom Thibodeau. Now, if you go back and watch the play, you can see that right as Brunson's jumping, you could tell that's when he's in pain. Like, clearly something happened before the jump, and that is that he collided knees. And that is what caused that kind of floppy foot thing that people were worried about, as he was dragging his foot behind him. But I'll be honest, when I saw that, I was less concerned, because that doesn't happen with like an ACL. It doesn't happen with a blown Achilles. Your foot isn't dragging behind you. You're not walking like that. You're not unable to walk like that because of a blown muscle. If you blow out your ACL, I'm going to show you guys my knee, my bad knee that is. If you blow out your ACL, your leg is going to lock like this. So there you go. For anyone who's interested in my knees, there's a look. Your leg is just going to lock. That is what happens. That is the sign of injured muscles. It's the same thing that happens with your Achilles. I'm not going to bring my foot onto camera because I just am not that flexible, if I'm being honest. And really, the floppy foot thing made less of a concern, because it appears what happened is he banged knees and he had the unfortunate luck of essentially like a button being pressed that turns your ankle off, which is called the peroneal nerve, which is on the outside of your knee, right over here in this area. So, we're going to break this down a little bit. What one of the Twitter doctors said, and a real medical doctor, not just someone on Twitter making assumptions because they watched one of the 10 billion medical TV shows currently on Netflix, but he said that this is very, very reassuring. His lateral knee gets hit right before Jalen Brunson jumps, could have caused a peroneal nerve contusion, which gives you dead leg and you're not able to lift your ankle up. This is a days to week injury, usually. And this is common in sports, but not basketball, which is the weird thing. For the most part, if you're hearing peroneal nerve, you're thinking MMA. and potentially soccer. But I don't know enough about soccer, and they have the shin guard, so I don't know if that's I don't know anything about soccer, guys. But essentially, if you get kicked in the leg enough, especially in the calf leg area where a lot of kicks are thrown in mixed martial arts, there's a chance of your peroneal nerve getting turned off, and essentially you just can't use your leg, and you become severely immobile, and you probably are about to lose a fight if that happens. Now, a doctor explained it. Brian Suter, I just botched his name, on Twitter. You could look it up. This is the video that came up. I believe I linked it in the comment section below one of my most recent videos. I'll put it in this one also just because I am using his thumbnail. I'm using his title for this bit, so I am obviously going to give him the credit he deserves. It's a great injury, or a great video on Brunson's injury. And something to note with what happened is he talks a lot about how there was no, tibial reaction, which would signify a ligament injury. Remember that video recently, for all you football fans, of Aaron Rodgers when he blew his Achilles on my New York Jets? And because he stepped back and you saw his calf just, pop, kind of. And the same thing with Kevin Durant when he spotted up to take that shot against the Warriors in 2019. You could see, the back of his calf, do some weird, shift thing. That is the sign of blowing a muscle. It happens with whatever muscle. There's going to be a reaction on your leg somewhere because of that. And we didn't get that with Jalen Brunson. All right, now I'm going to, for a quick second, mention why Brunson specifically and the New York Knicks and all of this and why it means... This doesn't make any sense right now because I'm trying to think about how to word this. I should have done this before the video, but Brunson shouldn't rush back to play. I understand where we're at, but also look at the NBA standings. They're literally at the bottom of your screen right here, right below the New York letters of my name. See, we're 4th right now with 36 and 25. We just beat the Cavs with our bench because the Cavs are frauds. Philly is 35 and 25, and Embiid might be back. I would rather play, not the 76ers. The Miami Heat can easily climb in the standings. They're on a roll right now. And so can the Indiana Pacers. I'd rather play the Magic. I mean, if Embiid's not going to come back, then yeah, I want Philly. But there's a real chance we're getting that 3rd seed and playing the Cavs. We're getting a seed where we could play someone like that. Or even the Bucks might not be the worst thing in the world. It's not like we're going to have to run into the Celtics. And as a 4 seed, we are going to have to deal with the Celtics if we get to the 2nd round, which is obviously my big concern for this. But also just because Brunson's too important to the Knicks. Let's not rush him back. And the perennial nerve, it's not something you can keep damaging. It only happens if you make contact with it. But still, let's not rush Brunson back until we know he's fully healthy and ready to go. We're already injury prone as it is. That's not going to change. Now, if you look at the New York Knicks' current situation right here, Julius Randle is expected to be out till March 12th, same as OG Anunoby, so they will be back in 9 days from now, while Mitchell Robinson will be back around the March 23rd date is when this is all their expected returns. I don't think Randle's actually going to be back March 12th. I think he'll be later. I could see that for OG, though, so that would be huge. Basically, the Knicks are already so injury prone. It's the time when we're just all right, we're already in a pretty bad situation. Losing Jalen Brunson now does not make, the world end if we miss him for a week. I don't want Brunson to be injured, and I want him to be ready to go for the playoffs. So maybe, not coming back after getting hurt and playing 40 minutes a night is going to be the best idea for him to do instantly. Maybe he should slowly kind of come back from what's a minor injury just to keep a precaution on the best player the Knicks have had since, as of right now, Carmelo Anthony, and could very well be the greatest Knick of all time, as Dariel and I have both mentioned. So I don't really want Brunson to rush back at all, but we're going to have to see what's going to happen. If Brunson's healthy, he's going to want to play. It's the type of guy he is, and you can't tell Jalen Brunson, no, we're sitting you, and that's fine. Now, something else to note with this perennial nerve is how much of a freak incident it is. For those of you who do watch the UFC, such as myself, I talk about this a lot, that I'm a big fan of the sport. This guy, the current champion of the 135-pound division, which is known as bantamweight. I don't know how many of you guys are MMA fans oh my God, Chris, shut up. We know. But some people don't know, so relax. But that guy, his name, I almost said that name, that guy is Sean O'Malley. He has 1 loss in his career, and it is to the guy who he actually coincidentally will be fighting on Saturday to defend now what is his championship that he won back in August. After he suffered his loss, a few years after he suffered his loss to a guy named Marlon Vera, who kicked O'Malley's perennial nerve. Now, O'Malley said he doesn't count it as a loss because of how freak of an incident it is. It hardly ever happens, and let me tell you guys something. It looked so similar to what happened with Brunson. O'Malley was trying to move. The man has amazing footwork. He's trying to take a little bit of a stutter step, just say as a mobile target, so he's harder for Vera to hit. And he just kept losing his balance and falling over his foot. And the announcers were saying, oh, his foot is screwed up. What is happening right now? And essentially what was written is that midway through the opening round, a leg kick appeared to connect with O'Malley's perennial nerve, causing a rare instance of drop foot, which other UFC fighters have notably suffered from in the past. Now look, that is exactly what happened to Brunson. He had that drop foot thing. It just means you can't control your ankle. Your ankle's just numb. It goes numb. You can't put weight on it. Think about it this way. Have you ever sat on your foot? Like, you're ever sitting in a weird position where you're sitting on your foot or something, and then you stand up and your foot's asleep, and it's like, oh, okay, I can walk, but it's like I'm walking awkwardly almost. Like, I'm not really able to put weight on. I'm walking like I'm 89 years old or something. It's like drop foot's a more severe case of that. That's all it is. It's just a weird nerve thing, and then you're fine. Your nerve is being pinched off. That's all that's happening. And then the pressure comes off of it, and then you can walk. I guarantee Brunson's just walking around living life right now. He's fine. Dude's just hanging out, doing his thing. Maybe a little sore, but he's just doing his thing. He's completely fine. Guaranteed the man's just walking around, probably practicing the same amount, maybe taking it a little easy just because of the freak accident. But everything's going to be okay for Jalen Brunson, and this video was longer than I expected. So make sure to subscribe to Knicks Digest. Comment down below your thoughts. Should the Knicks take it easy with Brunson coming back? Kind of vamp him back up slowly, even though it was just a minor injury? Or should he just get thrown right back into the fire? Do you guys think the Knicks staying as a 4 seed is ideal? Because obviously we can climb up, and I'm not advertising to lose games because then we'll end up in the play-in, but I'm just saying we don't need to win every single game at this point of the season when there's still around 20 games left. If we miss Brunson for the next 2 to 3 games, everything will be fine. Let me know down below, guys. Have a great day. Go Knicks.